Gift of the Givers says its specialist search and rescue teams are on standby for a possible deployment to Nepal following the devastating floods that have left several people missing, including South Africans. The humanitarian organization was contacted by the daughter of a South African couple believed to be among those unaccounted for. Gift of the Givers has assembled an 11-member urban search and water rescue team, while 4 police dog handlers and 4 search dogs have also been authorized to go on the deployment. However, Nepalese disaster management authorities have advised international teams not to travel just yet, as the Nepalese government has not formally requested international assistance and continues to assess the scale of the disaster. To discuss this further, we're joined on the line now by Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, Gift of the Givers founder. Dr. Sooliman, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time and welcome.
Good evening, Mpho. Thank you very much.
I mean, as we continue to watch the story develop from a distance, what do we know tonight about the South Africans who are still missing? And has there been any development that gives their families some sense of hope?
Look, it's impossible to give anybody hope right now. Hope is something, you pray for it and you hope that things will happen and there'll be some kind of miracle that does happen. But you see the scale of the destruction. There was no time. Nobody could get out of that place. It came so suddenly. Nobody expected it to happen. People were shopping. They were in all open areas. And when I spoke to one of the tour operators, he said this thing happened so suddenly. And in his words, he said thousands of houses, shops, businesses, cars, combis, taxis, and even malls, shopping malls, washed away, in a short space of time.
Yeah.
And he didn't say it exactly, but obviously, when you look at the pictures, and if it's a concentrated area, with thousands of people in a small place, the death toll is going to be very, very high. And it's not only Nepalese people, it's pilgrims and tourists. A lot of people go towards that area for pilgrimage. And all these South Africans, 6 of them, were actually on pilgrimage. So it's very hard to assess and know where they are. They've been washed away. And the daughter that you mentioned in the beginning, she called me again after she spoke to me yesterday, a few hours later, and said, look, I've accepted the fact that my parents have not made it because they've told me that the building in which my parents were was totally decimated.
Sure.
She said, no, all I want now is to find them. People want closure. We managed to trace all 6 people who they are. We've got contact with all the families now. We've got pictures, and we've got a South African person saying it's a strange world. The lady who called me is somehow connected to my wife. It's her family in some way, the family. And the person who called us from Nepal was my mother-in-law's music teacher.
Oh my
It's just
goodness.
amazing. It's uncanny.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I'm not near the disaster site. I'm very far from that site. But I've got a lot of people at the disaster site in the area. And we've sent him the pictures. We've sent him the ID cards. And he said he's going to put it in all the Nepalese media, send it across to everybody, and they're going to look alive or deceased. They will look. That's the one aspect. And of course, we've got our teams ready, and we've got constant contact with the Nepalese disaster management. It's our friends. We were there in 2015. 11 years later, they're still there. So they're instant contact with us. The foreign minister is aware of what we're doing. The embassy in Pretoria called us. We had to send them a letter. It was sent to Nepal. It had to get there before 3 o'clock to discuss in Parliament. Yesterday, we had to send another letter, which was also discussed in Parliament. I know, and the Nepalese ambassador to South Africa is there in Kathmandu. So from the Nepalese government point of view, they said, look, like what you said in the introduction, and it's our policy also, that if there's no call for international assistance, we don't respond. But when a disaster is this big, we put teams on standby. In the event the calls come, we do go. So we have 11 members of our teams and 4 SAPs. I always invite the SAPs with the dogs because it's experience for the police services and for our country. So we have 15 people ready and 4 dogs.
So
and,
Nepal, Dr. Sooliman, has indicated that its own security agencies can handle the search operation. And as you detail the back and forth in terms of communication and approval and a wait-and-see approach, so to speak, from your experience, when do you think it's the right time for an international rescue team to step back, and when can waiting actually begin to cost lives instead of bringing in the intervention, which is skilled with the capabilities and experience?
Well, it depends on the type of disaster. Okay, in an earthquake, the faster you go, the faster you can assist people. There's the only danger now. Well, not the only. It's a big danger. Is the aftershocks. Sometimes the aftershock is the size of initial earthquake, and sometimes even bigger. And then we can be thousands of them. And the danger is the buildings can fall on your people. That's the big risk. In floods itself, you can't do anything until the water recedes. Unless, this water, you can't do anything. It's way too fast for anybody to get inside there. Your rescue teams will be washed away with that water. It's just coming from a high area, coming down that mountain at that speed. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't use helicopters, you can't use boats, you can't use people, you can't use jet skis, nothing. You have to wait. And in this case, it's prudent to wait because there's another risk right now. The Chinese government has sent the Nepalese government pictures, satellite images of the dam higher up that's getting full. And the danger is that dam is going to break. If that happens, we've got a secondary disaster equally or similar, or even maybe bigger than the first disaster. And that's the reason why the Nepalese disaster team is telling us, yes, the first reason is they can't make a call because they themselves are not sure what's going on. And they don't want to call international teams until they're absolutely certain what the crisis is. But there's no way, I can tell you now, they're going to manage to do that themselves. It's impossible. They are going to need international teams.
Absolutely, especially looking at the scale. I mean, you mentioned that the pictures, the videos that we saw were really, really heart-wrenching. And having Gift of the Givers respond to a Nepal earthquake in 2015, has that previous experience helped you perhaps with coordination channels that are proving useful right now as you try and find the families of the six and really just get proper communication channels opening?
In fact, it is phenomenally faster. We did all this in 2 hours. It took us almost 2.5 days the last time because it's an element of trust. They don't know who you are, what you're coming to do, how good your teams are. It's fair to any government because they're accountable to their people. And people do get up to inverted commas nonsense when they go to disasters.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. And it's always let me give you an example. In that trip in 2015, they told us the search and rescue teams can go anywhere. We have no problem. But your medical teams cannot work in no non-Nepalese citizen can work in any government hospital. Our medical mission died even before it started. And then my teams negotiated with them. They said, okay, we got Nepalese doctors in our team who live in South Africa. We got South African doctors who are trained in the Nepalese health system. And we got just pure South African doctors. Let's do a deal. You bring all your minders from your health department and you watch our surgeons operate. If you're unhappy, we turn around and we go back. If you're happy, we take you to the hospital we want. They said, deal. We put our guys to work. Within 20 minutes, they say, it's in your favor. You walk in any hospital you want. We haven't seen doctors work like this. Every hospital in Nepal is open to you. And they remembered that. In this mission, immediately last night, they thanked us for 2015 again. And they said, if we call, we will give you preferential treatment. You will be looked after by us directly. You will be taken to the airport. The military will be with you. You will go with our teams. We will look after you and take care of us everywhere. You're on our priority list if they say we want international teams.
Yeah, that's very comforting. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Sooliman, Gift of the Givers founder, really just bringing us up to speed with some of the developments on the ground, a story that we continue to watch and monitor as Nepal has said for now they are not looking to bring on board international agencies, international assistance, as they want to assess the scale of the disaster. 6 South Africans in Nepal at the moment, Gift of the Givers having established contacts and information and really now have an idea of who these specific families are. So it's a story that we will continue to watch.